Hi guys. It's been a splendid 2 days. Thanks to Sanjay ji that I got to spend with your illustrious company in the Lake Palace. So when I talk about my work, I think I should talk from the time I graduated from college. I graduated from Trivandrum in Kerala. Now, as many of you know about Lorry Baker practiced sustainability in Kerala, especially in Trivandrum. So it was difficult to escape all those talks about sustainability and adaptive reuse and all those things. But the problem was that I didn't like the look of traditional buildings or how it was generally portrayed or adapted. Because I was a city boy. I was born in Dubai and brought up in Gulf. And for me, somehow I loved the fact that it is very sustainable and everything, but it was again difficult for me to think that I would be living in such a place because I was already accustomed to a concrete jungle where I grew up. And the bigger problem was, okay, I fell in love with whatever the sustainability that was being taught to us in the college. But my other problem was, I couldn't imagine myself living in such a structure, as many of you would be like that. But my another problem was that I couldn't even think about going back to the concrete jungle also. So I was stuck in between. I was a very confused guy at that particular point of time when I graduated. I didn't fit in the traditional setting, neither in the modern setting. So my professor told me, go and learn more. So I went to Auroville. I learned about mud brick. So my initial questions were, can mud brick turn from its traditional way? Can we use mud in construction? So the picture is me very gladly using mud brick in a compound wall because we had to start very small. Nobody would engage with us for making residences. But I thought, like I had something with me. At least I will start with this modular brick. So this is typical mud brick. And the ones who are sitting next to me are my brothers. Because initially when you start alone and poor, you have nobody but your brothers, So you forcefully engage them in slave labor. Thankfully, I had few sponsors. I literally tricked my way to convincing clients that mud construction is good. We can move into a different construction and mud materials can go into some other way. And to tell you the truth, there were so many people like Bijoji and all was talking about contacts. None of these things actually, at that point, I couldn't think about it. I was just trying to find my way in trying to build something which I liked. And I knew that mud is already sustainable, climatically good, so I don't have to worry about it. It was just that I just wanted to see what all mud can do. So this is us making the mud brick. So as you can imagine, a person with no regulations, no history, and no future, it was easy for me to go into any sort of material. So beer bottles, come whatever it may, but there was a scientific mind and also an aesthetic mind that thought, okay, these were right. So I was taught about arch techniques and everything from Auroville Earth Institute, run by Satprem Maini. So I had the techniques and the technology. So slowly we were trying to find what all type of structures we can build. So what you are seeing is actually an arch. Arches, which we learned as a Nubian technique, which we could do. And ferrocement shell technique. So we were experimenting big time into seeing how different mud structures can go from the traditional way, but being climatologically suitable. Because today we are in the iPhone era, isn't it? So we all want the maximum that technology or updation can offer us. So you can see we didn't even remove the label of the beer bottle. So we started to find new forms with whatever we were building. Using the traditional jalis and all those concepts, we were trying to build different forms
And our budget was low, our clients were fussy, all those problems were there. Still we tried to maintain something like something that would showcase us something different. So this is rammed earth, and I will explain much about this. This is actually made with debris. So again, a large vault structure. I'm not going into the details of the concept or the of each and every building, because that would take a lot of time, and we don't have time for that. Just that, like mud structures, what Sanjay ji was explaining, mud structures are thermally very cooling, and we could do large spans. So we were expanding our vocabulary, because I had a lot of workers who were working with me. And slowly we were finding different forms, sinusoidal walls and whatnot. So in few years' time, then we were thinking, can we scale up these efforts? These were all private residences, small residences. Is it possible for mud and technologies to, scale the effort? Can I go a bit more? So this is the Binale Pavilion we built in 2014 for the Kochi Musiris Binale. We won a small closed competition. And this is the largest ferrocement conoid that is ever built. Only my structural engineer told me that this is a conoid and this is the largest one. So we didn't know that. So this is made with jute sack concrete. So where you are seeing the people are sitting, it is jute sacks. So then we concrete over it. So we can build it with very less amount of cement. Ferrocement and jute sack concrete was a technique that was developed by N.N. Ramasamy in Chennai in the early 1960s. And it was further carried over by M.M. Thomas to Kerala. And somehow from some mason I learned about the technique. So jute sack concrete was something which I wanted to explore a lot. So we made this very large span of 23 meters. The previous largest span, what we understand, is 21 meters by Eduardo Toroja in Spain. So the scale up for projects meant that whether mud constructions can go multi-storied, whether we can make, whether we can go to some of the beautiful arches and walls, how far they go, how big can they go, and how beautiful can they go. So this is a church which we did. Again, self-explanatory. It's all mud brick and arches, and only 4 lengths of steel was used in the entire construction. So, and now this is actually a school I am building in Coimbatore, where we are doing something like a reciprocal beam, which we, when we are kids, we play with such kind of structures, placing toothpicks over each other, and like we play with such kind of structures. So we were like trying to think how big scale I can take these things up. So now the projects are going, this is a school. So the central courtyard is something which is having, so each and every classroom is being separated by these walls. So this, in theoretically, the cantilever is around 9 meters. So you can imagine the kind of load that these kind of structures take. Our discipline now crossed borders. We were initially starting in Kerala. Slowly, media was very kind. Many of friends were very kind, like Sanjay ji. So many people were promoting us in many ways. Social media was very kind. So we started our practice at Kerala, but slowly we moved into other states. Almost around 5 states we are practicing now. So in Gujarat, in Panjarapol Charrasta, we are building this. So this is the color that mud of Ahmedabad is. It's a very sandy, silty soil. So the color is something like this. So we make bricks from the site itself, and we build with that. So this is a part, it's a column beam structure, but the walls which are shown in the picture are actually real. So again in Ahmedabad, we are doing these multiple scale projects where big walls. So I am also kind of impressed by the step wells of Modara, and I love it. So I want to emulate such scales in bigger projects, and it was kind of like something which was very heartwarming, because my new masons included Gujaratis also. So our work the skill of our work can be translated with the local masons also. Because when you work, you definitely transcend boundaries in language. Um, so do we build with just mud, or can we start incorporating waste materials into the process? When I was working with mud, I slowly understood that even mud is becoming very less. And in urban areas, whenever I was working, I found out that it's very difficult to procure mud. You know, the regulations and everything. Even if nobody wanted it, when you procure it, definitely somebody would say something about it. So I thought, why not waste? Because most of the mud, the technologies I learned in Auroville, unfortunately were about dry and sieved technologies. A lot of mud was going waste. And at a time when you don't have budget and you are losing too much materials was kind of considered criminal in my practice. So I had to devise a way where I could utilize the waste. So this was a project where all these things happened by accident. It was not a deliberate move. Any of these things were not a deliberate move, as I have explained. So by accident, I came across a property where there was a lot of waste dumped by the neighbors. So we decided, why not put it in some mesh and steel and, like see whether it takes the load. So we started using these waste materials. We named it debris wall. It is now a patented wall structure. It is agreed. It is a load-bearing structure. So its load-bearing goes more than around 5 MPa. So it takes good load. Direct compressive strength is good. And we also started using waste in our grills. So we thought, why buy new steel? Why not use the scrapyard steel? So basically, these are meter boxes. At one point of time, your meter boxes were discarded. It turned to plastic now. So that particular time, I found that the scrapyards were full of these kind of meter boxes. So we started incorporating waste almost, but it was not the hero of the project, even at that point of time. It was kind of a sidekick kind of scenario. So this is a bamboo project, a house for Tharapillai, where we started using this Whirlpool washing machine wheels. So our waste incorporation became more of a, it was in the sidelines. So this is waste quarry material. This is again waste pipes, those plumbing pipes which we used. So can these techniques be suited for higher strength and time? So that is the big thing which we always think. So the Adobe block and the compressive stabilized block and the country fiber block, when you consider it, the strength is actually more for mud bricks. I don't have to tell, some of the previous presenters already said. And these are mud composite beams, and the consumption of, like energy and everything, I don't have to talk much about it. So these are again stats which show the load bearing capacity of these mud composite beams and everything. And again, so I thought, why not include tires also? So now the world is, like literally filled with tires and waste, and burning it is the last option that we should think, or landfill should be the last option. We can use it in construction. So there is load bearing techniques devised by the garbage warrior Michael Reynolds. And of course, none other than Laurie Baker himself, who did rat trap techniques and many other techniques using adaptive reuse. So our last question was that, can waste become a bigger stakeholder than even mud? So this is our patented shutter debris wall technique, where we explode it in multi-storied. So it is a waste technique where again 6 to 7% of cement is added, and we could actually make these very strong load-bearing walls for multiple stories. On an average day, India produces around 2.75 waste tires. This is the official, this thing. So you can imagine in India, unofficially, how much tires are used. So we are doing our residences with these waste tires. So waste has now become our major proponent. The advantage is, initially when I was talking about mud bricks, we had to stabilize it with cement or lime. Now the advantage with this is, the tires, you don't need to stabilize it. You can directly, ram the earth into it, the pure soil into it, and you can make wonderful structures. So this is something we are doing for JSW. It's a school we are doing for their CSR program. So an entire school, and we are doing another museum in Chennai with the tires. So as you can imagine, our people have been more and more confident. Our craftspeople are more and more confident. They are ready to go to the next step. So we are trying to explore new frontiers. And as you know, um as we are trying to find more and more forms which are more camouflaging in nature. So the idea is the tires will actually have some growth and everything, and the waterproofing will be done, of course, so that growth and everything will happen even on the roof also. Now, an extreme measure of this was the scaffolding which my workers use was always casuarina. It is considered as a bad material. So the bad material casuarinas had to be generally discarded. So I thought, why not treat it like how we treat bamboo and use it in a construction. So this is casuarinas. I was very interested in using this. And in this project, again, we started mixing the rocks and the waste debris which we found while excavating the soil into this technique. So yes, our main material can happen. I have a small video, please. That's the last thing. Okay, the video, please. So this is literally most of the things are done with this casuarinas with a small intermediate layer of ferro cement and waste mud and debris. Please see it. So, thank you guys. Now, one more thing. The last part is that to make this all a reality, at some point of time, I had to keep traveling from site to site, and it became a practice. So, I closed down my office. I left my home, and I have been traveling ever since. For the last 7 years, I have been literally, this is my home. So, this bag, I am a person who has one jeans. So, for the occasion, I bought one more jeans. Okay. So one jeans and few shirts are in this. And this is my office, the mobile charger. And I have a new addition. Nexion gave me this nice sketchbook. So this is my latest addition. And yes, I have my passport also with me, you know. So many people didn't believe, you know, that somebody would leave like this, but that is the truth. So many a times I was asked the same question again and again, and I thought some of you didn't believe me. So that was why I had to take this extreme step of bringing out my belongings. So this is it. Thank you so much.